Today, I will be speaking on divine retribution in Book 3 of Metamorphoses by Ovid. You all know the meaning of metamorphosis. It is transformation. And this transformation is the connecting link between all the stories that are present in this book, and it is the common theme. But if we look into this, we will see that behind this transformation there is a reason, and this reason that is present which leads to these transformations, we can see that the divine retribution is the reason. Okay, divine retribution or the God's vengeance is the reason behind these transformations. We will focus on Book 3. Book 3 of Ovid's Metamorphoses begins auspiciously with the founding of Thebes. However, divine revenge soon takes place and it takes the center stage. The gods punish nearly every major character for a crime, regardless of whether the crime was committed wittingly or unwittingly. Ovid demonstrates the continuing power struggle between gods and mortals. Cadmus's story may act as a traditional epilio within the larger scope of Metamorphoses, with its focus on a hero, his extraordinary deeds, and the founding of a city. But while things turn out well for Cadmus, his descendants such as Semele, Actaeon, and later Ino in Book 4 are not so lucky. Book 3 of Metamorphoses demonstrates some of the main reasons the gods punish mortals through transformation. Diana punishes Actaeon for accidentally stumbling upon her when she is bathing. Juno punishes Semele for her love affair with Jupiter. She also punishes Tiresias with blindness for agreeing with Jupiter in the banter between Jupiter and Juno. Narcissus is selfish and unkind, and he is punished for that. And Bacchus punishes Pentheus for failing to worship Bacchus and disrespecting Bacchus. Okay. Added to Narcissus' story, there is a story of Echo, and she is also punished. She is a nymph. She is punished by Juno. Okay. Sometimes the gods punish mortals when the mortals are simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, rather than deliberately acting against the gods, as we can see in the case of Actaeon. Okay. At other times, the gods punish mortals out of a childish fit of temper, as in Juno's punishment of Tiresias, or out of vengeance in Semele's case. Also, you can say in case of Semele, we see jealousy acting, which is leading to vengeance. But some mortals are punished for their genuinely bad behavior, like Narcissus and Pentheus. Okay, hubris and disrespecting the gods are high on the list, because hubris means extreme pride. These are high on the list because they involve mortals ignoring the line that divides them from the immortals. Okay, by focusing on the theme of revenge or vengeance, Ovid invites comparisons with Virgil's Aeneid, which portrays Aeneas' quest to establish a city and Juno's resulting wrath. Ovid outdoes Virgil, whose sole villain was Juno. Okay, in Ovid's account, 3 divine figures damn the household of Cadmus and the founding of Thebes. They are Diana, Juno, and Bacchus. So what we see here is that each act of revenge is accompanied by an ironic twist at the expense of the victim. Ovid clearly portrays that. Actaeon, who is a hunter, becomes hunted. Okay. The reversal is completed when Actaeon's own dogs tear him apart. Semele is killed by sex or love making, the very act that drew her and Jupiter together. She is slain by her lover's overwhelming prowess, and she requests her own manner of death. Okay, she chooses her own way of death, though she does not know what it would become to ask for, or the promise that she asks of Jupiter. But she chose her path of death. Tiresias' extensive knowledge actually causes his blindness. Okay, Narcissus, who has rejected all suitors irrespective of gender, is rejected by himself. Okay, he becomes both the object and the subject of spurned love. Pentheus' death is ironic for three reasons. First, his threat to kill Acestes is turned against him when he himself is killed for impiety. Secondly, Bacchus' worshippers mistake Pentheus for an animal. The ironic part of this is that, considering that the Pentheus is not an animal or even a transformed animal. Okay, in other cases, in case of previously what we have seen that Diana's punishment actually led Actaeon to be turned into a stag. Actaeon was turned into a stag, and Actaeon's own hounds tear him up. But in the case of Pentheus, what we see? We see that people consider him to be an animal, but actually he is not so. He is not a transformed animal. Okay, so the ironic part over here is that Pentheus is not an animal or even a transformed one, as are many of the characters in the poem we have seen. Finally, despite his refusal to worship Bacchus, Pentheus becomes a central figure in the worship rite, as he is sacrificed at the hands of his mother and aunt, and is sacrificed for the worshipping of Bacchus. Okay, in this book, Ovid focuses on the danger of transgression. In almost all the stories, all the episodes that we see in book 3, boundaries are crossed. Though not all the time intentionally. Sometimes it is intentional, sometimes it is unintentional. Semele, a human, sleeps with Jupiter, a married god. Actaeon stumbles into the sacred and secret grove of Diana and sees something he should not. Tiresias lives as both a man and a woman and offers a verdict on pleasure and sexuality from the perspective of both. His knowledge, which is beyond the knowledge of anyone, actually leads to his downfall. And Pentheus witnesses and unwillingly takes part in the sacred and the secret rites of Bacchus. Okay, so what we find here is that this transformation is happening through the transgression. Everyone, each character is transgressing the limit, that was the boundary that is set on them. First of all, Semele, she is crossing the boundary of being a human because she is wanting more than she can take. Okay, the power of Jupiter. So the result of each of these boundary crossings justifies Ovid's dictum that he has said in the first part of book 3, and I quote, "Do not call someone happy until he dies and his funeral is over." Okay. Similarly, in all the cases, in case of Tiresias, in case of Pentheus, in case of Actaeon, they willingly or unwillingly, intentionally or unintentionally, they cross these boundaries that were set upon them. Okay, and they have to face the divine retribution, the vengeance of gods through transformation, and that transforms everything in their life. So Ovid shows that when people cross boundaries, the result is blindness, or death by sex, death by hounds, or an equally horrible fate of being considered to be an animal and torn apart by his own mother and aunt. Okay, so what we see, while Thebes is founded happily, its subsequent history quickly grows grim, and it is because of the divine retribution or the divine vengeance that is brought down on the descendants of Cadmus. Okay, thank you.